Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing well. I'm super excited to be here. This is my first ever Cosmoverse, and it's in the beautiful city of Medellin, so I'm very, very excited and very happy to see all of you here. A lot of you here I've just met for the first time in my life, IRL, so super pumped to be here and happy to be talking to you guys. So today, I want to talk to you guys a bit about what I believe needs to happen next in terms of innovation in DeFi. We've all kind of gotten our hands around what existing DeFi protocols have to offer. But now we need to start thinking about what we can do next to make DeFi into DeFi 2.0, if you will. So before I do that, let me probably spend a couple of minutes just to talk a bit about what we do at Comdex, and especially what we do at Comdex to bring DeFi to Cosmos. So Comdex is a DeFi infrastructure layer for the Cosmos ecosystem. It's built to bring DeFi to the multi-chain. The way we do that is we've taken inspiration from some of the core transactional primitives that you see prevail in the worlds of centralized finance as well as decentralized finance. And the idea is to use all of that to bring DeFi to Cosmos. The way we do that is through the ecosystem of solutions that we have built out. As some of you might know, we started our journey back in 2018, building out the Comdex enterprise trading platform. The goal of the platform was to digitize the global commodities supply chain industry, to tokenize assets of real-world commodities, bring them on-chain, facilitate the ownership, exchange, payment settlements, and financing for them. With enterprise trade today, we're able to tokenize these assets and facilitate the exchange. But in order to kind of fulfill the trade settlements and financing and to fix this fragmented and inefficient commodity supply chain industry, we've focused on building out a whole suite of DeFi solutions which will ultimately integrate into CeFi. So what we have is Harbor Protocol, which is our interchain stablecoin issuance protocol for the composite stablecoin, which is CMST. Currently, Harbor is on testnet and has around 25,000 active vaults of users who have minted CMST. CSwap, which is our interchain hybrid order book style DEX, is also currently on testnet. Komodo, which is an interchain lending borrowing protocol for decentralized money markets, is also live with over 15,000 lending and borrowing positions on the testnet right now. CAsset, which is an interchain synthetics protocol, will also be coming live closer to the end of the year, which I'll also speak about a bit more later on in this talk. Speaking of DeFi primitives, when I talk about DeFi primitives, what do I really mean? What I mean is basic transactional structures that exist in the world of finance and in the world of decentralized finance, which essentially power finance for us. So what you see on the slides here are a set of different primitives that we have built out in the form of modules on the Comdex chain. If you think about it, when we have real-world assets like real estate, commodity shipments, these are all assets of value. What we do is tokenize them on chain, facilitate collateralization, facilitate liquidation so that collateralizations can be healthy, facilitate creation of derivatives, auctions, and a whole suite of solutions that you can see up here. And together, all these primitives form what we know as DeFi or finance as a whole. And that's really what Comdex is focused on delivering at the chain level. But why do we DeFi? We DeFi for yield. And don't we all miss the days when we had 3 to 4 digit APYs and compounding them on a daily basis, and you can almost hear the sound of the Lambo engines humming in the backgrounds when you're preparing to compound your yields. But things are a bit different now, and it's time for us to go back to the drawing board and think about what can we really do next to make DeFi sustainable, to make it composable, and to kind of make DeFi reach every user in the ecosystem. Well, for me, I think 2 core things that we are focusing on at Comdex to make DeFi 2.0 a reality is yield-generating vaults and composable DeFi strategies. So I'm going to get into both of these in just a moment. But the idea essentially that originates from the conundrum that we all have as users of Cosmos assets or users of POS assets is that do you stake your assets for staking yield, or do you deploy your assets in the DeFi ecosystem for DeFi yield? And the choice isn't always quite easy, which is why we are where we are today in terms of this conundrum. Well, at Comdex, we want to help fix this. We want to help you do both, and why not? Today, a lot of us know about liquid staking protocols in the Cosmos ecosystem. There's a bunch of great teams doing some great work out there. There's Stride, Quicksilver, pStake. Staffy, and you know the whole lot. What we want to do is first begin to recognize stake derivative assets as yield-bearing assets. That's kind of the step one that we want to do. Emphasis on the word yield-bearing assets, because liquid staking is just one example of yield-bearing assets. There's also LP tokens. When you deploy liquidity on DEXs and Osmosis and Crescent, you all get LP tokens, and you're earning yield by holding these LP tokens. So why not start to recognize LP tokens as yield-bearing assets and start integrating them into DeFi ecosystems as well? So I know you guys can see a graphic here. It's probably not too easy to understand, so let me try and walk you through it the best I can. We all start by holding our assets. It could be Atom, it could be Osmo, Juno, CMDX, right? You could stake them through liquid staking protocols and have, let's say, ST Atom. Once you have ST Atom, it's already earning you the staking yield. But what if you could start using ST Atom as a collateral to, let's say, mint the stablecoin, borrow against it, mint synthetics? Now you're able to earn the staking yield and also participate in DeFi ecosystems. Same thing goes for LPing, right? You have your assets, you can deploy them as liquidity on DEXs, you get the LP token. Now you can use the LP token as collateral to either mint stablecoin, mint synthetic, or borrow against it. Again, you're able to capitalize on the LP yield that your asset is giving you while also participating in DeFi ecosystems. So this is kind of the core of what we're working on next, is to create yield-generating vaults from yield-bearing assets. So where does that take you? It takes you into composable DeFi yield strategies. Again, the graphic you probably see is very complicated, but allow me some time to kind of walk you through it a bit by bit. Mind you, what I'm about to show you is something I just came up with in the matter of a few minutes when I thought about what can be done. I know there's some GigaChat brains present in the audience here, and I know if you guys spend time on this, you'd probably come up with way better than I could. So let's just talk about the first basic thing you can do, leverage. You start with Atom. You can collateralize it. You can mint CMST or any other stablecoin. That stablecoin you can use to buy more Atom, and you've kind of created a loop of leverage there. What you can also do with your Atom is stake it through a liquid staking protocol, collateralize it, mint a stablecoin, which you can then use to buy more Atom, and that's another kind of leverage loop that you've created for yourself there. Leveraged LPing, again, a concept that I came up with in a few minutes. I feel like there's way better ways of doing this. You start with Atom. You can provide liquidity on a DEX, or you can stake it and have staked Atom and Atom liquidity on a DEX, which gives you the LP token. Once you collateralize the LP token, you can mint stablecoins, which you can use to buy more Atom and kind of create a loop of leveraged LPing. Lending, again, is a very straightforward use case. You either lend your Atom or you lend the staked Atom to earn a lending yield. Hedging, again, take your Atom, stake it, collateralize it, borrow another asset against it, which kind of creates a short exposure to that asset. So you're simultaneously long on Atom while earning staking yields and being short on another asset. Leverage staking, again, start with Atom, you stake it, you have your staked Atom, you use it as collateral, you mint CMST, or any other kind of stablecoin. You use that to buy more Atom, and then you can stake it again, and that creates a loop of leverage staking as well. So ultimately, that's what I meant when I started off with this graphic. It's that once you have these DeFi protocols or DeFi primitives that are interoperable and composable, you can kind of just use them together and form your own kind of composable yield strategies. And that's kind of what I believe DeFi 2.0 should look like. It's not just having these as products, but giving users the ability to form their own strategies around such products. So in order to make this happen, there's a few things we need to overcome. Not just at Comdex, but I think for the DeFi ecosystem as a whole. The number one thing would be pricing of these assets, which is kind of something that I think we're collectively dealing with right now. When it comes to staked assets as well, we have liquidity pools for, let's say, ST Atom and Atom. But when there isn't sufficient liquidity in these pools, the ST Atom becomes a very volatile asset. And what does that do? It causes a lot of liquidations when you use ST Atom as collateral. And that's something we don't want. We want to be able to price these assets efficiently so that we can actually build sustainable DeFi ecosystems, which requires a new approach to pricing these assets itself, an Oracle's 2.0, if you will. So again, traditional oracles kind of rely on liquidity as one of the core metrics to figure out the pricing of assets, but we want to take that a step further. We want to tap into the ability to kind of have real-time monitoring of on-chain reserves of derivative assets. The moment you have on-chain reserves of derivative assets, you can kind of incorporate that into the existing pricing models and create more efficient pricing models for how you price staked assets. Even LP assets, for that matter. When you have LP tokens, we currently don't have a method of pricing them. But what we do know is there is always on-chain proof of how we can ensure that LP tokens have sufficient collateral backing them or sufficient reserves backing them. So that's kind of the objective. It's to figure out a new method of pricing them so that it's more easy to incorporate these assets into existing DeFi ecosystems. Once we do that, we reach a stage where we're able to price these derivatives and then incorporate them across composable DeFi. So, kind of what's next on Comdex? The moment we get past this pricing problem, we can get back to the drawing board for synthetics, which is something we've been anticipating for a long time. This is something I've spoken about before as well. With synthetics, pricing the synthetics was becoming a bit of a challenge in low liquidity. So we wanted to tap into a new kind of pricing model so that synthetics can be easily composable and deployed into our DeFi ecosystems. Once that happens, we have a lot of news about different protocols that want to build perpetuals in Cosmos. We're working with them. We're talking with all of them. We'd love to incorporate them as soon as they're ready for that. And the same goes for options protocols as well that are currently building in Cosmos. So the idea is, again, to take this vision of composable DeFi, take it a step further, incorporate perpetuals, options, work closely with teams at like Injective, Osmosis, Crescent to incorporate order book for synthetics, which will help solve a lot of the challenges we've faced until now. Before I wrap up, what's a little Cosmoverse talk without a little bit of alpha dropping in there? So wanna take a moment to drop a couple of announcements. At Harbor Protocol, we've already announced airdrops for Akash, Umi, CMDX, Atom, Osmo, Secret, Crescent, and BLD. So I want to take a moment to announce the next set of communities that we'll be airdropping to. This is not everything. There'll be more after that as well. But let me announce it now. Juno, Evmos, Kuji, Stars, Key, and Sif Chain will all be also part of the airdrop that we'll have for the Harbor Protocol. And again, the focus will be to drop them to stakers who participate in governance on a consistent basis, to get the tokens in hands of people who participate in governance, who give importance to governance. And another big announcement is in January 2023, us at the Comdex team and a few folks in the Cosmos ecosystem in India are actually working on organizing a Hackathon-style hackathon in Bangalore. So that is definitely happening. Would love to have all of you attend that and make Cosmos India grow as well. So there'll definitely be more details dropping about this in the next few weeks, but would be excited to see all of you guys there. Thank you.